finally called me exactly. You read me exactly, Dustin.
The meeting of the Board of Ellis County Commission will now come to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Dean Hazelhorst.
Present.
Commission Chair Butch Schleier.
Present.
Commissioner Dustin Wall.
Present.
Four present.
Thank you. And order of business, I believe we'll have 2 executive sessions this evening. And Administrator JD is going to leave right after the meeting to go over to Victoria. Okay. Prior minutes, did you get a chance to review the 14th?
I didn't get a chance to review the 14th, just the 17th.
Okay.
I just got the 14th, so.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to review any. Are you okay with the 17th?
Yeah, the CARES program, one real cut and dry, simple. It was fine.
And I looked at the 14th that Donna sent. I don't know, must have been 1 or 2 o'clock whenever it was, but I looked at it too.
Okay.
Yeah, mine didn't have the link on it, so.
I didn't either.
Okay.
Okay, so the minutes will stand as submitted.
Okay.
Okay, I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Make a motion, approve the consent agenda, items A through G.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0. Any issues from persons not on the order of business? Sure don't look like it.
Dry night out there.
Two department heads.
Monthly department report. Did you guys get a chance to review the report?
Did,
Look good, thank you.
Very good and thorough.
as always.
Okay, and we have a virus update. Jason.
Mike Liger has to sign these.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jason Kennedy, Ellis County Health Services.
Has to sign.
So what you see up there is the kind of the latest trends from the onset of COVID. Last Monday, I believe we talked, things were looking a little better. Of course, as is COVID, I did an interview on Thursday. We had continued to improve. You don't ever say anything good in COVID times because now we've reversed that trend and started off in the wrong direction. So as you can see, 7-day average cases, and we'll talk about that in a second. The 7-day average cases are starting to incline again. From a peak of around 30, we are at around 17 as of today. Percent of positive is taking a turn as well. It is continuing to increase. A lot of that is due to we actually see less people, less testing going on than there was a couple of weeks ago. But that doesn't mean that we don't have more in the community as well. So we do see kind of both factors there. So both those trends are not in the positive direction. As of today, we actually issued a press release earlier today, so there's been a lot of confusion with the numbers. So we are going to report numbers a little bit differently. We were reporting new cases, as is new cases that were in that reporting time period. So usually 2 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. However, with the extended duration of some testing, especially certain private testing platforms, some of those tests can come back in 7, 8, 9 days. The acute tests that we're seeing, especially with Hayes Med, and we're seeing with First Care Clinic and the walk-in clinic and the doctor's offices, we're still seeing those come back in 48 and sometimes even 24 hours. But a lot of the asymptomatic testing that's happening, those test results are coming back in an extended duration. So we're going to start the top, instead of new cases, will just be new cases per day or per 7-day average. That way people can kind of use that to gauge trends. So they can look back and say, well, for the last 7 days, it's been about 18 cases a day. So if I want to figure out how many cases we had in the last 2 days, take 2 times 18, and that should give you a fairly good approximation. We will report total cases as well at the bottom, but the new cases was getting confusing trying to add those or trying to see what that actually corresponded to. So that 7-day, the new cases per day on a 7-day average, that will update every Monday, wednesday, Friday, and it will be for the 7 days preceding that. So With that, that brings our active COVID cases over the weekend to 193, 193. Active hospitalizations are at 6. Our recovered cases or cases that are out of monitoring would be 689. Positive tests are 861. As we've talked before, that number will always be less than the total case number because we do have probable cases that are cases that were not tested. We did increase that number of probable cases. We increased that to 24, up from 13 as of last time we reported. Total tests, we have a significant increase in total tests as a large amount of asymptomatic testing was dropped over the weekend. Percent of positives is 11.3. That is the percent of positive from the time that we started reporting, so 861 divided by 7580. 7-day average percent of positive is 29.4. That's the one that we're worried about. That's the one that we track as far as up and down and things like that. Total deaths still stands at 3, and we did have a sizable increase in cases from our last reporting on Friday. Those were, as the press release said, those were cases that really have been over the last 3-week period or more. We've been working with KDHE for about 2 weeks to try and figure out a way that we can actually get reliable data from them that would match up to what they're putting on their dashboard. We're close. I think they reported 870 today. We actually have 885 total cases from the onset of reporting. So what that means is things are not better this week. We still need people to make good choices, but like we talked before, what we see this week is what we did 2 weeks ago, what we did last week, not what we do today. We can always change the future, but we have to start now, so we need people to follow those best public health practices. Really eliminate contact with people. If you're sick, stay home. Call your primary physician. If you become symptomatic, wash your hands, wear a mask if you can't socially distance, and stay out of groups. Any other questions for me?
As always, Jason, you're doing a good job, and I know you live it day and night, so no, I don't have any questions for you. Keep up the good work.
Jason, is a probable case, is that a symptomatic case that may have been exposed and hasn't been tested?
Yeah, so what the standard definition of probable case is someone who is determined to be a close contact of a positive laboratory confirmed COVID-19 patient, was symptomatic in the 14-day window following that contact, but was never went in to get tested. So most of these cases are months and months and months ago by the time we find out about them, and KDHE usually goes through on the backside as they audit charts, and they'll find these cases that were updated later on, and then they put them in there. So it does lead to some struggles with keeping track of the total numbers for the public as they look at it, because those cases will pop in, but they won't actually be an active case. They're a recovered case, and so there is some difficulty there with that.
Have you heard anything about your grant yet?
Yeah, so we actually did receive notification that we were approved for 2 grants. I'm going to get you guys the numbers tomorrow. I found out about them today, so I'll put together the numbers. It wasn't for the full amount that we were looking for, so I've got to go through and see what parts we're going to have to pull back or what we can actually do. We have had conversations with the medical community about how we can partner together. One of the grants specifically is for expanded testing. So that would be testing of direct contacts that maybe don't have all of the symptoms, but might have a symptom or something like that. So it, with the amount that we got, it might be more advantageous for us to partner with somebody that's currently doing testing and spool that up. But like I said, I did find out today on 2 of those grants we were approved, and I'll have the dollar figures for you guys. I'll email you that, and we can talk about some options.
I'm going to add a little bit just to the question that Commissioner Schleier had. On those probable cases, are those self-reported? Somebody says, you know, I had it, I likely had it, and you guys go back to an older case? So
the majority of these right now, so as we've talked in the past, about a month and a half ago, actually a little more than that now, about 2 months ago, we started utilizing the state's contact tracing program, because we had such a large influx in a small amount of time, and we just didn't really have enough staff to handle that. So a lot of those cases are cases that the state followed up with throughout the duration of their isolation, and they would have logged in there that, you know, John Smith was symptomatic on this day, and then as the state goes through and looks at that, they look, John Smith was a contact of X. This was the 14-day window. They were symptomatic in that period, and then they'll update that as a probable case.
The other question I had is, you said we had a big drop of tests that came in that were all, non-COVID related. Did that pull down our percentage of positive then?
No, because a lot of these tests were credited back to
Other
from the
times.
start
Okay.
of when we've been doing this. So
That's that
I'm-
10-day window you were talking about.
I'm really diligent about keeping track of day-to-day cases, the totals, the actual confirmed positives, and the tests that were conducted on that day. But there's such an amount of data going clear back really into March that every once in a while the state will, for whatever reason, they'll go through and find it, and we get notified of it. So this number here is significantly larger than what it was on Friday. Those were not conducted over this weekend. They were not conducted over last week. They were not conducted over 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were really from the start of our reporting to now. So we did have a fairly significant amount of tests that were done over the weekend associated with long-term cares and some of that kind of stuff, but not 1,800 tests.
That's how many came on to that. I mean, it's
I think it was, I want to say it was around 5,800. 5561 as of the last day, and then we're 7820, so a significant amount of additional tests there.
It's encouraging to me that it looks like, I imagine people can get tested multiple times if they have contacts and things like that, but, about a quarter of our population has received some sort of test of COVID-19 now.
Unfortunately, a bulk of this testing actually comes out of long-term care facilities where
Multiple
those
tests.
people have been tested. It is truly an unfortunate occurrence of what has happened, and those the long-term cares are doing a phenomenal job of trying to keep these people safe. They have done everything they can. They've gone above and beyond, but some of these people have been tested 6-8 times, and we've got people with Alzheimer's, with dementia, with all that kind of stuff, and so it truly is unfortunate the amount that they've had to go through to try and keep them safe, and then yet we still have clusters, we still have outbreaks really across the state that we see in those long-term care settings. But the long-term cares are doing a phenomenal job of trying to meet all of the benchmarks that the state and the federal government sends out, and they've done a phenomenal job of it.
Well, that's encouraging too. I know that we've definitely talked about that since the beginning. We have to protect that population more than any because they're so much more susceptible to it for bad illness.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's outside of long-term care settings in the state of Kansas, the mortality is 0.5%. Inside long-term cares, it's 1%. So they've got about double the mortality than the general population. So
That's it for me.
Okay. Jason, thank you. Our next agenda item is the Ellis Cares approval of payments. JD?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I might take just a moment and, as part of this, update you. I was going to do so in my report anyway. We have now, as of this weekend, sent out notices to all of the for-profits and nonprofit organizations. So in total, we're going to have some 120-plus programs that we're going to be interacting with here fairly quickly. In fact, my email is filled with responses already today. We had several phone calls. People are starting to come in. One of the small tweaks that we made to this is, in light of the fact that we are in a pandemic, is trying to encourage folks to use electronic means to send in their memorandum of understanding and that type of thing, and for us to correspond that way and via telephone instead of having so much traffic in the office, especially in light of the fact we've got an election coming up as well, and we'll have a lot of people in the office with that as well. So that is moving forward, and with that, this item is on the agenda this evening. The request is for us to have advance approval to go ahead and release payments when the recipients have met the threshold that they need to with their documentation. The items will still come to you all for final approval, but it would be retroactive.
Mm-hmm.
We're asking for your permission to do so.
Okay, do I need a motion for that?
I move that the Ellis Cares payments not to exceed the amount previously approved be approved to be made to the sub-recipients upon completion of the submission of the required documents and approved memorandum of understanding.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
So JD, on that, before they have to spend the money, I guess, or before we actually approve it?
So there's actually two different buckets there. One bucket of projects, if you, not projects, that's not the right word.
So if they
One
have a-
bucket of funding, I'm sorry.
Okay, so if they have a $100,000 project, let's say, I'm just using that as an even number, they need to get everything submitted to you before they go out and say order whatever they order.
Yes, so two steps. So sticking with projects then, because we also have loss of revenue groups of people too. Maybe I could address that real quick because it's fast. So loss of revenue, they just have to demonstrate that they had a loss of revenue. You've already approved how much they can receive up to. So they're really kind of the easy ones. We just have to make sure that they've submitted the financial statements or the notice from the CPA that indicates that they have that loss. So they can be released in full. The other set is the projects. People are there doing projects. Some will be ordering some things, a lot of them will be, not a lot, but some will be constructing things. And so the guidance the state has given us is that release a certain amount of payment once they have their items are in place so they can begin the project, and then have them provide receipts as we go, and so perhaps do like a monthly release over. And so that's and we've just kind of followed along with what the rest of the
But
state
they
is
have to be
doing.
done with their project by December 31st?
Yes, we're asking for everything to be done by December 7th so we can get our stuff compiled and also turned in. I mean, so that's the goal. If some can't make it and have to go to December 30th, then, we would allow that. We just have to comply with the state. But we're encouraging everyone by December 7th.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
It's
Chairman.
impressive that you got all those out already. You sent all those emails and everything for all
Yeah,
of them.
it was
Very
quite a
good.
bit.
Very good.
Okay, the next item is the extension of the snow removal services. JD?
Yes, sir. This will be our existing contractual relationship with Flatlander Dirt Works is expiring, and that was signed in 2016. I guess it did expire. And so we have gone out for bid for this year and a proposal. And we received two proposals, and Flatlander is the low bid, and it's also the same amount that we have been paying them under our current contract. So it's kind of a win-win.
Okay.
And we're recommending it be approved.
Okay.
And we need a motion for that. Any questions, discussion?
I have no questions. I move the snow removal agreement with Flatlander Dirtworks LLC be extended and amended as presented.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, our next item is the Midwest Energy Board of Directors ballot. JD?
Yes, we have been in receipt of some ballots, and I understand there are some more still to come. I understand that you all have handled this in different ways over the past. We went ahead and put it on the agenda this way, but you also, I understand that you've also handled it where you just appointed one of you to cast those ballots on your behalf. So however you'd like to handle that.
I don't recall how we done it last year, but however the board wants to do it. You have any thoughts or feelings on that, commissioners?
The only one I know on here is Tom Lippert. So, I'm of the nature that I'd rather not have my name on a vote if I don't know the person I'm voting for. But I would be okay with appointing you, Butch, to go ahead and fill it out as you see fit and leave whatever blank you see fit from my perspective.
Me too.
Okay, I can do that.
The only one I know is Tom Lippert, and I know Gary Moss briefly, but not good enough to tell you he's better than the other one.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the other one.
I will go ahead and complete the ballot. Is that in your office? or-
I have them. I think we still maybe are expecting some more, Bill. Is that correct?
Excuse me, normally we get one with every electric meter we've got, so I've already given JD the ones that I received, and I had given one today, so
Okay.
I think I have 5 so far. We might, I think we have to the end of the month, as I recall.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get in your office and get them filled out.
Sounds good.
Okay? And we have a county administrator report. JD?
Yes, I just have one item tonight, since we already talked about Ellis Cares, and that is just a follow-up with the Nicodemus presentation that was here at the last meeting. I found that to be very compelling. The whole thing, the story was neat. The people that are involved are enthusiastic, and it's such a feel-good story compared with the times we're all going through and the stress right now. And I'd like to first of all thank Public Works. They did a really good job, great job working with the folks. So Bill, I'm sorry, what's the name of the gentleman again with our staff that constructed that? Larry, is that correct?
Larry Rohr.
Bill Ring, Director of Public Works. Dale Hickey in our shop is the one that actually made the frames. Because, I mean, they're very nice signs, but with the Kansas wind, we were afraid of them flexing or getting bent, whatever. So he made frames, out of steel to go around. And then he, even to keep them from moving, he put buttons in the center. But then he painted the buttons to match the background in that photograph. And then he made a windbreak, and then Larry put up all the posts and stuff. And then the road crew made an area where you could pull off 2 or 3 vehicles now, or they get a lot of school buses out there, they said. The 4th graders come out. So now they can safely pull a school bus off and let the kids offload on we just used millings, but it would give them a nice area where they're actually, even though it's not a highly traveled road, let's keep it safe for the kids.
So apparently they're very appreciative of all the work that Ellis County has done, generally, but specifically the Public Works Department. I reached out to Angela afterwards and just offered any help that she might need in the future. Bill's done the same. And they've got a couple more signs I think they talked about last time that they're going to be looking at. And so we'll help them however we can. So
Okay.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you. County Commission reports.
I had a KAC meeting last Friday in Salina, but I think it took 2 days and maybe a few extra hours, I don't know. We started it at 9:30 in the morning, and I didn't think we was gonna get done till midnight, but we finally got done, thank God. A lot of good information, but 99% of it, as you can imagine, gets focused on COVID. And we had a battle in there with a couple people, and I didn't think it would ever end. It was worse than watching paint dry. We took 2 recesses, and we still were talking COVID after finally the chairman ended, he said, we're done. But a lot of good things we're doing. A virtual KAC convention, as some of you probably know. I know Donna does already. I think she's actually signed up. I think her name was on the list that you signed up. Did you sign up for that?
We just got that today, the email today.
Oh, because she said Ellis County was very
I had
prompt.
spoken to
Oh, okay. But, so that's going to be going on. And we're doing another board meeting that Thursday of the convention. All this time via what do you guys do? Zoom, yeah, via Zoom this time, so. But we had a good attendance, surprisingly. They came from all over, from Garden City to Kansas City. Everybody was there but 5. So it was a good meeting, and just a lot of legislative issues we talked about, and election, and COVID, and more COVID, and how everybody's handling it different. The western counties are doing nothing. They aren't concerned. They're going forward, and they're tired of living under rocks. And the eastern Kansas people were not as eager to get out from under the rock as the western Kansas people. So, but it was all good.
Okay.
So that was it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ross.
Only thing for me, I think I forgot to mention, I did have a community corrections board meeting and a juvenile services board meeting. Everything's going fine. We do have a couple retirements that are happening, some turnover that'll really change things up, along with our county attorney change up and all that kind of stuff. So, but it seems like they've got a good succession plan put together, and they'll be ready to keep that rolling. Talk about the people that work in that are really our public servants. I mean, they're dealing with very tough individuals to try to keep tabs on and to keep out of trouble, and they seem to do a really good job of it. And the board that I sit on covers all of Northwest Kansas as well as the juvenile side. So it's always good sitting in on those, but sometimes it's a little disheartening as well, because you get to hear about the amount of caseload that is dealt with, not just in our county, which is obviously the biggest county that they serve, but throughout all of Northwest Kansas. And I know they have a lot of concerns because of COVID-19 and not seeing some of the caseload that they have, and they don't believe that it's not happening. They just believe that they're not getting the reports on it because kids aren't going to school, things like that. So anyway, that's all from me.
Okay.
I guess one of the things, Butch, on that real quick is in our COVID conversations, the amount of inaccurate testing. We had a gentleman there that was tested 3 times. First time negative, second time positive, third time negative. So he thought, well, maybe the 4th time's the charm. 4th time he was negative again. So he was tested, 4 times, and once was positive. His friend he was playing golf with was the same deal. Went in and got tested because he was feeling ill. He thought he had it. Well, he tested negative, then he went back and he tested positive, then he went back again and he tested negative. So he doesn't know if he has it or not.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That is very confusing. And I have no report. Dean, you have a executive session there?
Is this the 5-minute one, Bill? Okay. And JD, I know is going to Victoria, so safe travels to Victoria. I move that the board
JD,
of,
figure them out over there.
walk lightly. I move that the Board of County Commissioners recess to executive session under the following exemption to the Kansas Open Meetings Act pursuant to the attorney-client privilege exemption. Subject to be discussed is pending litigation for a period of 5 minutes. Those attending will be the county commissioners and Mr. Bill Jeter.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Donna, do I need to sign these or Mike like?
Next one, or?
I got it. No actions taken, Donna. I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for 30 minutes to discuss a variety of non-elected personnel issues.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Okay, there's no action, and the board will adjourn at 6:01.